And welcome. It's Power Coach Alicia here for our weekly live. And today I wanted to start this out by telling you a story about a woman who came to my in person event that I did the other day in my home. And she was sharing about how she's always giving to everyone else, always helping everyone else, always showing up for everyone else, always carrying everyone else. And like she feels good about doing that, right? And giving that. But she still feels lonely and empty. And, you know, the rest of the room wasn't like saying anything to her, like in a connection point. But I could totally feel her because I have often said how alone I had felt in the past in a room full of people, but I never really knew why I had felt alone. So I've got my notes here. If you see me look off the screen, that's why I want to really dive into this and I want to make sure that I cover the things that I want to share because I think that it is really, really, really important. And here's the thing: when you're doing it on the house, the kids, the money, the car, like career, all the things, and you're keeping all of that together, if you don't understand why you feel unseen, then what we're going to talk about today is for you. Because the main reason why you're feeling unseen is because one, you're getting your significance and your validation and your worth from what you give and what you do, and you're proving and you're earning and showing up and doing whatever you can in order to earn someone's love or to earn their support or to earn their respect. It just depends on where you're using it at. But when we talk about your house, when we talk about the way you operate and you run day in and day out, well, as a powerful type A person, you usually hold all the weight, you do all the things, you carry everything, right? And it's because you can, and it's because you have that strength. But when, like in the story, she says, I feel alone all the time. Okay, hold on. Who's wandering around in the kitchen? You're distracting me. Ugh. I wish I had office doors. I cannot handle the distractions around me. Okay, sorry, I'm back. So we're going to be talking about that because, when she shares it, she does all of that. She gives all of that. She shows up in that way, but she still feels alone. It really hit me hard because I have been there so many times. And sometimes I still get to that space where at that moment I felt that way. But I've learned why it feels that way and what it is my soul really needs. But in the layer of that, this isn't just about saying, well, you got to give it to yourself. You got to be there for yourself. You got to take care of yourself. You got to give to yourself, and then you're going to feel good, and you're going to feel better, and you're going to feel this, and you're going to feel that because you gave it all to yourself. Now, that is partly true, right? In what you give and how you show up, and how you honor and value and respect yourself, and the time you spend with yourself, and all of those things, that does matter. However, we are human beings, right? And we have partners and the love and the romance and whatever, the companionship, and the last thing that you want to feel like is that you carry it all, you do it all, you show up, it's like I kept my word, I did what I was said I would do, and I give and I love and I fill in the blank, and yet I still feel alone. And the majority of that comes from how you operate, what you do, how you show up, and how you teach people to treat you. Because one of the things that I always say is no one can treat you the way that you don't already treat yourself, right? You are going to be treated from the outside in a way that you already treat yourself, okay? And if you don't treat yourself that way, then you end up with boundaries there and you show up in a certain way and you enforce those boundaries. And so therefore, your tribe ends up adjusting and they don't like it. Your tribe ends up shifting right to different people, and they're not treating you like that. They're not doing those things, and the people that you're calling in don't. And the people who are already in your tribe, they will adjust or they will leave, right? Because when you create boundaries, when you step forward in your boundaries, when you're clear about them, that's what creates your reality, right? That's why I say that no one can treat you the way you don't already treat yourself. Or put a different way, the way you treat yourself is the way others will treat you, period. It's not this unfair thing like, well, I don't treat myself that way, but they talk like shit to me and they treat me like shit. They emotionally abuse me. They physically abuse me. I don't physically abuse myself. I don't punch myself. Da 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 da. But if you really strip it back and you really look at it and you look at the way you treat yourself, maybe it is physical abuse through health and eating and da 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 da, right? That would manifest to someone else doing that, so on and so forth. Doesn't give anybody a right, doesn't give anybody a pass. What I'm doing my best to do is just put a little seed and a plug there of letting you know that as you shift your power, as you step into your queendom and you sit on your throne, then the way that people treat you will shift. It will shift because the way you treat yourself has shifted. Okay? So the first thing I really want to talk about is rescuing, over functioning, and carrying it all. Okay, so it starts with rescuing, where you have this savior complex. And trust me, this was a big one for me. I really had to learn to stop saving people. I had to learn that it wasn't my job to save, it wasn't my job to fix, it wasn't my job to interfere in the space that people needed to step into and do the work on their own, right? Like, it wasn't my job to do that. Let's turn that so we have all the good decor in the background. Anyways, by the way, I do get easily distracted. That's why I have notes, but I'm always me because I think that that's important. And I didn't want to look over at the printer and all that over there. I wanted to look at the decorations. So anyways, so when you have a savior complex and you're always rescuing people from the consequences of their decisions, you become their, it's not outlet, that's not quite the right word that I'm looking for, but you become what they end up codependent on. You become the dependency to the solution. Haha, that's what I want to say. You become their solution. And then when you show up, when you don't do, when you don't have the energy, when you don't want to make the effort, when you're sick of it, when you put in the boundary, then that's when people get mad at you, right? That's when there's disconnect. That's when there's turbulence in relationships, because when you put your foot down after, let's say, 15 years of operating, let's say, with your partner, because truly that's the most important relationship besides the relationship with yourself, where this needs to be bridged. So when we talk about your love relationship, when you finally step forward, when you finally say, this is what I need, this is what I want, here's my boundaries, here's what I accept, here's what I want to accept, da 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 da. And obviously you don't say it just like that. But as you're starting to roll these things out, then that's when there's that pushback, right? That's when the challenges arise. That's when it's like, it's never been like this. Or, you don't love me anymore because you're not here and holding me and carrying me through the shit that I need to walk through. It doesn't matter if they're scared that the fire is going to burn their feet. It doesn't matter if they're scared or they're sad or they're depressed or they're frustrated or they're hiding or they're avoiding or they're whatevering the trauma, demons, burdens, pain. And they want you to carry them through that so that they don't have to feel that. It doesn't matter. It's their shit. It's their shit to feel. It's their shit to go through. It's like, you don't need to make the doctor's appointments and the this and the that and the this and that and this and that and this, all these things. You don't need to make the appointments. You don't need to do those things. I call it leading yourself, right? Men need to lead themselves. Women need to lead themselves. We come together in the middle. We help each other. We're supportive with each other. But no one needs to carry anything. Now, there are going to be times in life you get older, you get sick, you get hurt, you have surgery, da 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 da. There are things where there's shifts and there's ebbs and there's flows. But that's not what we're talking about when we're talking about rescuing and over-functioning and carrying it all. We are talking about just the standard of how things are and how strong type A women like you, like I, pick it all up, carry it all, make it all our responsibility so that other people don't have to carry and feel the load, right? Does that make sense? This is making sense to you? Shout yes in the comments. If something really connected with you, I'd love to hear, what connected with you, why it connected with you. So drop that down in the comments for me as well. So the next thing that I want to talk about is spiritualizing your own abandonment and calling it love. And so, or maybe if you don't go spiritualizing, you go with like being proud of this abandonment, like I do this for everyone, I give this and this is how I show up and everyone can depend on me. Like you're wearing it like a badge of honor and you feel alone inside. It's literally like when you are helping and supporting and giving and carrying it all and rescuing and over functioning, you're getting these dopamine hits of significance and validation that you are worth something. So you're doing it for subconsciously, more than likely for the dopamine hits. And you're doing it consciously so that you can feel important, so that you can feel like you contributed, so you can feel like you did something that showed them you love them, right? And how much they mean to you. And that's where things get fucked up and distorted. You carrying it all, over functioning and rescuing your partner, the life, the kid, like holding all of that shit isn't a show of love. It's literally a show of abandonment of yourself, because nobody needs you to carry it all in order to feel love from you. And damn sure not your partner. They don't need you to carry it all in order to feel loved. It's like if your partner works a job 80 hours a week to pay the bills, you appreciate that. You love that they do that. But even if they didn't have an 80-hour, did I say $80,000 a week? God, could you imagine? Even if they didn't have an 80-hour a week job, you would still know they love you. See, but then you're going to tie, well, like he's such a good guy. He takes such good care of us. He works 80 hours a week. He pays all the bills. He loves me so. Like you're creating what that means. How hard he works. You're creating what it means. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't about men doing something wrong or not being good enough or anything like that. That's not the point. The point is you romanticizing and creating something out of an 80-hour a week job. You're making it mean all of these things when, yes, it's part of that, but it isn't like that 80-hour a week job is the love. The love is in them. The love is there. And that's the same thing for you. Overfunctioning, carrying it all, being like the Wonder Woman, so to speak, is not why they love you. Yes, they appreciate that. Yes, they love you for that, but that's not why they love you. Because let me tell you what, if you couldn't carry it all and you couldn't do it all, let's say some sort of physical ailment, are they just going to stop loving you? Are they going to stop caring about you? Are they going to stop wanting to be with you? See, that's how you operate, though. You overfunction and you rescue and you carry everything with the energy that if you're not doing all of that, you're going to be loved less. But if something knocked you on your ass for months or years where you couldn't do that anymore, because emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, you had to pour it into yourself just to make it through the fucking day, they're gonna still love you, but you operate as if they're not. Like you've got to do all of these things. So hopefully that connects with you. And I know we were talking about spiritualizing your own abandonment. Hold on. I don't even know why my phone is acting crazy. Hold on.